there's a big difference,
Okay.
between expecting martial arts to teach ethics and morality,
Yes.
which it doesn't do,
Right.
versus only teaching violence to people who are already moral and ethically good. There's a big difference there. So
Yes.
a teacher, and Huangyi has a whole section on it, the Chinese classics have a whole section on it, who to teach and who not to teach. And there's a bit of gatekeeping there, right? But even in sword, like in a lot of Koryu arts, Japanese arts, they won't teach the more dangerous stuff to just anybody. You have to join the ryuha. You have to be a member of the thing, and then they'll start to teach you the real dangerous
So
stuff.
you would have to be like a part of it, doing shit. Like you slowly work up.
In Katori Shinto-ryu, you have to take a blood oath.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, there's a big difference there, and so this can go into a whole different topic as well of when you are teaching, there are different people that you teach different things to based on how well you know them, how long they've been around, how they learn in general, and the constraints-led approach is really good at kind of like
figuring that out.
Yeah. Because you'll see it's very easy for somebody to just come in and drill and do forms and maybe some sparring and stuff like that, and you don't know who they are. You don't know whether or not they're good people, but you put them in a position where they have to train and their true self comes out because they have to adapt and they have to make quick decisions. People's personality starts to show when they start to make those quick decisions.
Yeah, they do.
That is a good way for you to say, okay, well, this guy, I think I'm going to hold him off over here. You're going to be doing this stuff. This guy, I'm going to be teaching you a little bit separately.
I like that. I'm going to think on that a lot. I like it a lot.
It happens whether you're aware of it or not. But yeah, that's just every instructor does it, whether they're aware of it or not. Then becomes the question, is the instructor the right person to be making the decision?
Yeah.
But
that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other something else.
Especially when martial arts instructors nowadays are getting arrested for all sorts of things all the time. And
right.
A
couple examples real quick. I had a guy walk in, wanted to train, wanted to learn martial arts, wanted to learn Wing Chun, wanted to learn how to kick ass. Sorry.
We don't do that here.
I don't have to go someplace else.
Yeah.
I have a student right now who I'm very fond of, and I'm constantly trying to train him, but man, all he wants to do is hit.
Yeah.
All he wants, he's an old school boxer.
Yeah.
And he just wants to hit, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
We got to work that out of you.
Yeah.
You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
You don't want to be tensed up.
Well, it's...
Or just having one objective of I'm going to hit.
Right. If he wants to learn what I'm teaching.
Right.
Yeah.
He needs to let go.
He needs to let go of that.
Mm-hmm.
If that is what he wants to do, then he needs to go someplace else. But that would be a spiritual choice on my part.
Yeah.
And a spiritual choice on his part.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because,
I mean, I have so many questions about how we're using this word now, but...
So, like, for instance...
Because if it doesn't fall... God damn.
Think of it this way, right? Think of it this way. In terms of my lineage, okay? When we talk about... Because my lineage founder created the school called the Mudokwan. Duk meaning virtue. In Korean, it's de. right? So like if you ever practice Chinese martial arts and you practice wude, wude is martial virtue. It is the way that you carry yourself and the good that you do, as a martial artist. Okay, the if the old usage of that word, de, it essentially was used to refer to your inner essence, like who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So if I take my martial and I just go and I beat people up,
That's who you are.
most people don't do that, but
Yeah.
that is who I am. If I use my martial to go and join a task force and help to protect people, or help, I go and I become a paramedic, or I go and I do something, and I use my martial in a way that benefits people in that way,
Yeah.
that is who I am. If I use my martial to help consult people when they, they come in through the door and they, they're stressed and whatever, and your martial allows you to
read that person,
to help them, to maybe just listen, to maybe guide them in a way, to give them training that will help them find harmony or whatever, right? So like mudukwan, duk or de in Chinese really represents who you are. And so when we practice Sudo is about compassion. It's about, if I have to engage with another individual, what do I have to do? Do I have to rip this dude's arm off? Do I have to shoot him 5 times? Do I have to stab him a whole bunch? Or, who knows, right? Like we don't know when we're in that situation. But if, the last time that I had to use martial arts, and I'll call it martial arts, the last time I actually had to, it was a homeless man. I was leaving the Y downtown after class, back when I was teaching there, and dude grabbed me, like grabbed my arm like this, pulled me, and I just kind of went, and I swept him, and I just put him right down at my feet just like this. And I realized as soon as I put him down on the ground, I was like, oh dude, this guy's not a threat. He's not trying to hurt me. So I helped him up and I said, do you want some Subway? And
Nice.
he said, sure. So we took him across the street and I got him some food, right?
So you just kind of reacted. And
well,
went,
yes.
wham!
Yes.
And then,
But I didn't.
Yeah.
As I was putting him down, there was a moment where I went, this man does not need his head smashed off the concrete sidewalk. We're going to let him down softer. And that is a part of training that is the Sudo. That is your Sudo. That is your spiritual training.
I like that we can put it in another language to define all those English words. To be honest. Because, I mean, like, the biggest issue arguing about this, I feel like, with the English language, and me being argumentative, is semantics a lot of the time. Because, like, you put it kind of as spirituality, but you say you don't want to touch ethics and morals, and it's like, well, doesn't spirituality kind of enforce like objective morality? So isn't that kind of like, I'm not saying you have to come in here and teach people morals or spirituality, but I agree that this whole pseudo concept, right? That's the thing. But
because it's
inherently
martial arts does not teach ethics.
But do you think
does not teach morals?
That it should?
No.
Okay.
I think that no, because I don't think it can.
You think it's impossible to put one next to the other?
Martial arts for me, and this could be a topic in and of itself, but martial arts.
Too much humans involved.
No, I wouldn't put it that way. Martial arts, in my opinion, is a development of a specific skill. Okay.
Yes.
That is not dependent on ethics or morality. What happens usually is people come in through that door and they want to learn a specific skill. And when you practice that specific skill, okay, first of all, if they're an adult, good luck changing their morals and ethics. Won't happen. Most kids' morals and ethics are already firmly in place by the time they're 18. Okay? If they're a kid, you don't have them long enough. You have that kid maybe an hour, 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week at most.
Yeah.
Some schools only teach half-hour classes. You may only have them for a half an hour a
So
week.
pretty much what you're trying to tell me is you have to become a propaganda machine.
You would have to be also their parent.
Whose morals are you teaching? That's why I said
That's a good damn question,
That's
too.
why I said there's too many humans involved. If I were going to teach my students morals, the only morals I know to teach them are my morals.
Do you think it would be...
I could not teach them Dan's morals. Now, Dan and
Yeah.
I know each other well enough. They're probably pretty similar.
Yeah, more than
But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So the same student that I'm talking about that likes to hit, I bet his morals are,
They're
he
probably a
likes
little
me,
different.
but they're probably a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea that you teach morals, you can't. I don't think you can.
No.
The social interaction creates an intermingling of morals, and there
Yes.
will be some bleed over. And if well, actually, every instructor is hoping that there's some bleed over of their morals. Some instructors' morals should not be bled over.
Very true. And I think that's a
should,
good.
but there's no way to
Yeah, like that's a good.
catch that.
Yeah.
So like, in my lineage, we talk a lot about principles, fundamental principles, not morals. Morals, in my opinion, are like laws.
It's
That's how I.
You know what I mean?
That's how I see them. But
Yeah.
I found that when I go to see them like that, there's so much gray.
Yeah.
So much gray.
Yeah, like
because
I
there's so
wouldn't-
many. Because the laws.
Because the law doesn't
change.
cover.
Yeah.
Well, the law doesn't cover everything.
But
and
like-
laws do change.
Well, they change among societies, amongst people,
True,
amongst
true.
over time.
Yeah.
It gets all mushed
And then,
up.
but you also have opinions. You're a person.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
That's why, like, I like the term principles. Like some of the principles in my lineage are like, oneness with nature, oneness with the universe. That's not a moral. That is a principle. That is something that you can practice. Harmony
like
of
that.
yin and yang.
Yeah.
Body cultivation, mental cultivation. Like these are practices that you can.
Hurt not to maim, maim not to kill,
Yeah.
kill not to be killed.
It's
So
a principle.
what you're saying is you can instill principles into your stuff to kind of give them tools to practice to guide them towards pseudo or spirituality or
I
whatever
think
you're
you
saying.
can. I think you can.
Do you think that I just said that right?
I think you did.
I think you can, but I don't know that you should even think of it in those terms. I think
I don't know what
It's
terms
part
to
of the
think
practice, right?
Yeah.
it is part of the practice. As instructors, we've cultivated it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are exemplified. They're through example.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
are taught,
Yes.
not, okay, everyone sit down for principal class now.
Right.
Blah, blah. No, they're taught by example. I had a student the other day. Very common in Wing Chun, of course, is to go for the throat.
Mm-hmm.
But this can be potentially lethal.
Mm-hmm.
And a student and another student and I were talking. I don't like to. I was telling him I don't like to hit. I don't like doing this. Well, why? And I said because that's my soul.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather close the gap, put the guy on the ground, and I'll slap him around if I have to.
I thought you were gonna like
Or
be
I
witty
might
and say
even,
something else.
I might I might be perfectly willing to put my thumb in a guy's eye
Yeah.
because it's not lethal.
Yeah.
If things have gotten that high up and I can't control myself. I also said, yes, I'm controlled enough. I can put my fingers in your throat and not kill you. I can make you cough, and that's all I need. But I opt for these things because that I don't want anything weighing on my soul.
You don't have to think about that shit later.
Right.
or do all that paperwork or
So I
any of it.
didn't sit down with him and give him a principal class.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me, and I said, "This is what I do."
Yeah.
So your approach is that it's naturally occurring.
Yeah,
And
because I am
there's no need to harp on that's kind of what I was going to say is like my school is more of a community. When these kids are talking about philosophy and whatever the hell, I mean they're all about in their 20s, so they're talking about whatever the hell they came across first and kind of sharing it about, and it kind of gave me a little bit of ideas, because it's like I don't study a whole lot of the history myself, I don't study a whole lot of the philosophy myself, and I was like, well, what if I got some books in here, because I let the dudes borrow all anything, pretty much, as long as they ask. Well, we just had some
just
books.
just
We'll
being
do
in
a little
the,
book check-in.
Just being in the group,
I'm
it's
not
all
saying
going to rub off.
Yeah.
Plus,
so it all just kind of gets mixed around. I mean, we're in a place of cultivation.
Yeah.
That may not be exactly martial, but it is scholarly.
Yeah.
And I think
And it's related.
Plus-
if your principles apply with scholarly, which I feel like HEMAs do,
Yeah.
kind of what I'm having the books and spreading that and just having that open conversation is good. So I like kind of both there. Yeah.
So my advice is that it should be congruent, meaning if you are sparring, and this is not, I'm not saying that you don't do this or do this. This is just a general kind of idea. If you're sparring and you hurt the other person, how does the class respond?
How do you respond?
How does
I mean,
everybody respond to this situation? And I've been to some schools where you get hurt, they just kind of throw you in the corner and everybody just continues to do whatever.
Yeah.
Rather than, you get hurt, everybody stops, everybody comes over, everybody makes sure you're okay. That is a different culture. I was at a school back when I was in college, and the instructor hurt a student and started yelling at the student.
What the?
Because the student blocked wrong or did something wrong. And so it was, of course, the student's fault. And I remember thinking, like, how are you still in business? Like, how have you not been sued yet, right? Like, but everybody was fine with it. Like, everybody was like, oh, yeah, stupid thing. And I make the joke sometimes that if you get hurt in martial arts, it's your fault because you did something stupid or you messed up, you blocked wrong, whatever.
No, but
it might still be your fault. But you should still be cared for. You should
yes.
still be cared for by
I
your
don't
teacher.
think.
You should still be
I think
cared
even
for
if
by
it was that kid's fault, that shouldn't have been
should not have been
brought up.
No.
It didn't matter whose fault it was.
Exactly.
Even if you don't think you did it
are-
wrong,
if
you
you
just
are
say
on
sorry
that
and help the
floor,
fucker out. Yeah.
You are my family.
Yeah.
You are my brother. You are
Yeah.
my sister. That matters to me.
That was
Yeah.
my point. That came down from the instructor. The instructor, by example, teaches the students to, stop, you okay?
Lead
okay,
by example.
Get me some paper towels. You okay? Do you want to take a break? No, you're good. Okay, we'll wipe you. The instructor, it comes out of the instructor and it rubs off. It's not, Johnny got a broken nose. Everyone stop. This is what you're supposed to do. No, you do it.
Right.
And they go, that felt good. Or,
Then-
that sucked. I'm
Then
not
if
coming
there's a
back."
book,
Realizing there's that moment of oh shit, and then there's that he's good, yeah. And I think that that's something that you'll see a lot more in the group that all tries to help each other too.
And then
my
when
group,
you
my
have a
group tends to be
book-
like that.
and
Yeah.
you're like, here's some philosophy books, and they read it, they're not going to go, well, that's different from what we do,
Yeah.
right? So whatever culture you're trying to develop in your school, make sure it's congruent across.
Yeah, I wanted
board.
to add some books to the shelf that are around the same date and time as some of the swordsmanship we practice. But that's such a broad range that we're just
broad
covering
range.
history at that point. So it's whatever. I'll kind of add as I go, but
Yeah.
This probably was my favorite podcast so far, I gotta say.
Cool.
Well, I mean, when I'm arguing with a dude for like 2
kinda
weeks
went-
about the
We
about
went in
this.
a lot of different directions there, but that was.
I mean, at some point we were like really on track, and I asked one thing, and we.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
it was
okay.
good though. I enjoyed it.
I tend to care a lot about the pseudo aspect of it. There's a part in my Lineage Founders, his 1970 book, and he basically says if you are so concerned with using weapons, then you've completely missed the point of martial arts. Because we live in an age that the atomic bomb exists.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you're like, oh, I'm going to use a weapon. Okay.
Have fun.
I mean, like, so
I
what
hope
he
it's
says,
enchanted, dude.
what he says is that what matters more is that we as martial arts instructors cultivate a person who is in charge of the atomic bomb
I like that.
and decides when and when not to use it. So, I don't even remember what we started with.
I don't
What
know.
constitutes training?
What constitutes training for you?
I was trying to pull it in.
You did a horrible job, and it's my fault.
I think it was good. I think it was good. I think it
Welcome
started
to my
off.
ADHD podcast, where
Yeah.
in the beginning we have no clue.
I think it went really good. I think we actually got about 3 different topics done, as a matter of fact.
Good Marshals Universal is really just another way of saying ADHD. Anyway,
Yeah.
have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you next week. Subscribe.
Like,
Hit the notification bell and leave a comment.
leave comments.
Comment, share with your friends. We'll see you next week.
Peace.